let's get into it. The best segment, my favorite segment. This is where it's my time to shine. For people that clicked on the video because of the title, just know this segment is called "Is This Stupid?" This is from our podcast, TTB, or the Trust the Bank podcast. Go check it out, on all the platforms, or check out the previous videos uploaded to see the rest of the podcast. But this is called "Is This Stupid?" Okay, so I bring a probably very stupid take, an opinion that I thought maybe it's a plan, maybe it's an idea, maybe it's something that they should do, and I'll bring it up. Joshua does not know what it is, but I'll bring it up and I'll make the kind of case for it, and then we'll discuss. Is the take just stupid? Yeah, we can dismiss it, or is there like something to the take? And the last one was that the Ravens should trade Mark Andrews, and Joshua was very surprised by it. But here we go. Here's the take, and then I'll give my exclamation. Eric DeCosta is not a good general manager. I see this one a lot. I see this one a lot on Twitter, especially right now. A lot of people getting very mad at Eric DeCosta, and obviously a lot of like non-Ravens fans, Steelers fans and Browns fans. They're like, "Oh, Eric DeCosta sucks." But I've seen Ravens fans saying it, and their idea is, "Oh, he's not helping Lamar. He's not getting him his wide receivers. Why is Eric DeCosta not stepping in and, making these, executive decisions to fire a guy like Greg Roman? Why is he not doing this type of thing? As the general manager, he's in charge of the entire organization under him, and he's not making those big moves." And then you look at, his draft history and what people say. Oh, he drafted Miles Boykin over Terry McLaurin. He drafted Hollywood Brown over DK Metcalf and AJ Brown. Like, you look at those types of moves, and it makes you question, is this guy really the one that he lives up to? Like is Eric DeCosta really the great general manager that everybody thinks of? So that's the case. Joshua, I want you to respond to Eric DeCosta. He's bad. He's not a good GM.
Damn. I don't know how to respond to that one, man. Is Eric DeCosta pretty much a dumbass? No. Nah. I wouldn't say it. No, I wouldn't say he's a dumbass. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say he's stupid. I wouldn't say that he's an ignoramus. I wouldn't say that. No, I wouldn't say that. I really don't feel it's. You know what? I would say this: if he was truly a stupid guy, it would be Washington and Dwayne Haskins all over again. I would think it would be worse because Lamar Jackson actually produces. No offense, Dwayne, you had a rough start. You pretty much had your offensive lineman laughing at you when you asked them, what you want me to do. Look, what can I ask the coach? I feel like Eric DeCosta. Let me take this back. Has Eric DeCosta done enough to help Lamar? No, not yet. The only thing he's did, in my opinion, is get him another running back that can run the ball good to replace Mark Ingram, and to get him one of his buddies from Florida. Now, he got him an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, he is helping him to a degree. I mean, supposedly he's working on talking about, getting an extension for him with Mark Andrews, and also working out his extension. He thought he was doing something right by Miles Boykins. Miles Boykins is he's like a shooting star. You see it every once in a while. So I can't say Eric DeCosta is not like tending to Lamar's needs. Do I agree with every move he's made? Fuck no. I mean, let's be real about it. I don't. So, me personally, as a Ravens fan, did I want a little splash here and there? Yes, I did, because this is one we've been talking about it for centuries. I feel like we don't have that over the top play. So I don't feel like Eric DeCosta's. I don't feel like he's stupid. I just feel like he pulls the trigger too late on certain things.
Okay. I'm going to disagree with my take. Well, okay, it wasn't my take. It's not my take. I'm not a believer that Eric DeCosta is bad. I'm a firm believer that Eric DeCosta is one of the best general managers in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And why that is first of all, he learned under Ozzie Newsome. Shout out to Ozzie Newsome. And Eric DeCosta is not some newbie that just walked into a general manager position. He was working with Ozzie Newsome for years. He was definitely involved in drafting Lamar Jackson. He was involved in all of those conversations. So, when people say, oh, when he first got a chance, he drafted, it's like, no, he was in Ozzie's. He was with Ozzie, and Ozzie was like, I'm handing the keys over to you. I can almost guarantee you that Ozzie was like, hey, Eric, you're going to have the keys. If I got you Lamar Jackson, would that be like good? Because Ozzie wouldn't be like, hey, yeah, you're next. Deal with this quarterback. I'm going to draft him. Maybe he's good or not. No, he probably was like, hey, man, you're taking over next year. What do you think about this move? And I would assume that he said yes. And what he's done is don't forget what the Ravens were in, at the state that they were in when he took over. What was that team? It was John Brown was the number one wide receiver. Like they didn't have anybody.
You're saying you had Mike Wallace?
Yeah, like Mike, like they didn't have anybody when Lamar Jackson took the Ravens to the playoffs. They had a rookie. They had Michael Crabtree and John Brown were the wide receivers that Lamar Jackson was working with. And yes, John Brown is solid, but like the scheme was completely different. In one offseason, he was able to completely revitalize the entire team to be able to at least fit what Lamar Jackson could do. That is not something that every general manager would do for their quarterback. Heck, you look at what most of the young quarterbacks go through. They don't get them an offensive line. Eric DeCosta was like, hey, yeah, what do we got to do? Extend Ronnie Stanley. Boom. Major contract. Seal up that left side. What do we got to do? We need a right tackle. Boom. Let's draft Orlando Brown right there. Oh, he needs a young wide receiver. Let's draft Hollywood Brown. Okay. Now, if you look at the tape and you're like, oh, why did they draft Hollywood Brown over DK Metcalf? DK Metcalf wasn't a first-round wide receiver. Was DK Metcalf better than like JJ Arcega-Whiteside? Yes, JJ Arcega-Whiteside was taken way too early, but Hollywood Brown was Hollywood or AJ Brown were the two picks that you could go with. And the Ravens' issue is that they don't have like a good development of wide receivers, but like Hollywood Brown hasn't been bad. He's got what, 16 touchdowns or 15 touchdowns in his first 2 years?
Yeah.
If you told me that when the Ravens drafted a first-round wide receiver, which they've never been able to do successfully, and you're like, yeah, the guy has first 15 touchdowns in the first 2 years, do you think any Ravens fan would be like, that's a bad pick? No. You'd be like, wow, we didn't draft a guy with bricks for hands that can't catch anything and is supposed to be fast, but he plays like he's running in mud. Rashad Perryman. No. He drafted somebody with speed that was coming off of an injury, and he was able to build a scheme that helped him out. And you look at what the Ravens are trying to do in the offseason, and it's like, oh, they don't make big splash plays. They don't sign these big wide receivers. Let me tell you, Ravens fans, wide receivers do not win you championships. You look at the premier wide receivers in the NFL, how often do they win you championships? Julio Jones, how many Super Bowls he got? None. Michael Thomas, none. Randy Moss, none. I believe Terrell Owens, none. Terrell Owens may have one with the 49ers. I'm not 100% sure on that. So, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Nice.
But, Larry Fitzgerald, none. Calvin, none. They don't win. Other than Jerry Rice, but he played with Joe Montana, so we'll give him a pass. But you look at these top-tier guys, DeAndre Hopkins, none. They get paid a ton of money to be the single wide receiver. And, yes, that's nice. It helps out your quarterback. But at the same time, paying a wide receiver a ton of money is hindering your offense. Yeah, sure, especially in a running offense. If you're in a run-first scheme and you pay a wide receiver $15 million a year, that you're overpaying. That's not what you need. That's one of the things that the Ravens fans want. They want these big splashes. What did he do? Eric DeCosta was able to trade a 5th-round pick and a backup linebacker for a Pro Bowler in Marcus Peters. What GM is pulling that off mid-season? He sees, okay, we struggled. We've lost 2 games in a row to the Chiefs and to the Browns, and then I believe they won their next game, and then they made the trade. But he goes out and he's like, man, we got to step. Something's wrong with our defense. They're scoring a little bit too much. He goes, hey LA, I got this Kenny Young guy, and I've got a 5th round pick. Why don't I send him over your way? You send us a Pro Bowl cornerback. In his first game, Marcus Peters had a pick 6 against Russell Wilson, in maybe the most pivotal game in the last 3 years for the Ravens, barring playoff games. That game right there, Marcus Peters made the difference, and that all happened because of Eric DeCosta. He traded a 5th round pick for a Pro Bowler in Calais Campbell. Like he does that type of thing, and he doesn't get the credit because he doesn't make the flashy move, but he makes the Raven move. Yes, he's different from Ozzie Newsome. You look at the way he drafts. He typically drafts more offensive. He's not drafting an Alabama linebacker every draft.
Eric.
What?
I like that's the only reason I like Eric so much more, because we're gonna always have a defense, but if we don't tend to our offense, we can't keep on having those guys out on the field. I mean, we've seen what happened. They keep on, if they don't get no break, over the top. Oh yeah, we want to just run it, boom, up the hole. That's why. So, is Eric still stupid? y'all let us know. Is Eric still stupid?
Yeah. like Eric DeCosta has done so much that doesn't get noticed, and he's also great at working the cap. That's another thing that he doesn't get credit for. He's very smart when it comes to the extensions, bringing people back, that type of thing. That's not something that's easy. There are a lot of teams that really struggle with figuring out how to retain players. He's not one of those guys. He learned from Ozzie, and Ozzie knew you got to let guys walk. You cannot overpay. Eric DeCosta, this is one of the boldest moves I've seen from, I believe, a first-year general manager. He's got a Pro Bowl middle linebacker that was drafted by his predecessor, one of the best middle linebackers in the NFL. And he says, we'll give you this much money. C.J. Mosley, the leader of the defense, the player that had the game-sealing interception to send the Baltimore Ravens to the playoffs. And Eric DeCosta says, I'm sorry, you can go. And he goes to the Jets. Like that takes balls, but it was smart. Like, he's not going to overpay, and he understands that. He's going to let guys walk. He let Matthew Judon walk. Like, he understands not paying for guys by paying them too much. And that's something that he doesn't get credit for. And Ravens fans, we talked about it earlier in the episode. The Ravens have a plan. Eric DeCosta is also very upfront about what he's doing. Like, he'll go into a press conference and he'll be like, hey, this is what we're doing. We need to address the offensive line. Like, a lot of guys are like, we'll kind of look around at some other positions, see what we can do. And Eric DeCosta's like, no, this is what we're doing. This is what I'm going to try and do. Talking with Lamar, trying to get that contract situated. And then, we're going to do this. And he's so good at it. And no general manager is perfect. Not every draft is going to be perfect. But you can't fault him for Miles Boykin not seeming to have a work ethic after being drafted. Like Miles Boykin was a good prospect. The issue is he got to the league and it doesn't seem like he works on anything. He doesn't have that drive, that effort. Like, that's not Eric DeCosta's fault. Yeah, sure. That's more scouting department, if anything. They didn't realize that he doesn't have a work ethic, that type of thing. Like, Eric DeCosta is an elite general manager. Is he the best in the NFL? No, but he's definitely in the top, I would say top 5. But the guys, I'm sorry that the Ravens aren't signing big name wide receivers, but wide receivers don't win. So stop freaking out about that. He changed his entire system. He's made gutsy moves that have paid off, and he's great in finding trades and things of that nature. So yeah. I just had to say that. But if you're a believer that Eric DeCosta sucks, comment it down below. Let me know, is this stupid? Eric DeCosta is not a good general manager. I think it's absolutely stupid. I think it's horrible. I'm a big believer. I'm a first-hand member of the Eric DeCosta We Trust fan club. I'm all in on EDC We Trust. So,
no, for real, man.
And you got anything else, Joshua?
As far as this take, man, listen. I'm just looking forward to what the people are going to come and say. I look forward to getting to some good old healthy banter with fellow Ravens fans and non-Raven fans.
Yeah, I mean it'll be interesting. So make sure to comment down below. I'm gonna reply to everybody that comments, their opinions, that type of thing. Let us know if you have any like guys that you want us to, because free agency is not wrapping up, but it's kind of ending. Focusing more on the draft, different players, comparing players, Bateman versus Terrence Marshall and different edge rushes and that type of thing. We can definitely start looking into that. I have to do research. I'm not a scouting report master by any means, so I can look into that and everything. But thank you everybody for listening to the podcast. Make sure to check out the YouTube channel. Everybody watching on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button for Daily Ravens content. But also check out the podcast. Give it a 5-star rating on Apple Podcast and stuff like that. Trust the Bank, but TTB Ravens Media on YouTube. Joshua, it's been fun. But everybody, thanks for listening. See you again next week.
Hey man, y'all have a good one.